Hi, everyone. If you can put your phones on mute, we're waiting for a few more folks to come in to the virtual room. Okay, Louise, we're about 65. I'll keep an eye on the room, and any hands up, please jump in if you have any questions. Again, this session is being recorded, and we probably have about 70 people. We'll still see people coming in, but please do start. Thank you.
Excellent. So we might as well get this rolling here. Excellent. Good afternoon to all of our team members here on the East Coast, and also a good morning to our BGIS team out in Western and Pacific. I'm really glad that you could join today. My name is Laura McMahon. I'm an RP1 member of the contract at BGIS with Professional Services Planning Team. My focus is in architecture, and I'm currently here in the office in the NCR area. I would like to welcome you all today to our pilot session for the new series of Lunch and Learns. And we're inviting exciting and innovative companies to come and discuss their products and industry practices with us. So we're exploring new ways of incorporating and integrating these ideas into our portfolios. We have prioritized looking for companies that are aligning with the BGIS pillars of sustainability, leadership and innovation, Indigenous engagement, and responsibility to health and wellness. And so without further ado, today with us, we have Xavier Bruchot, who's currently live in attendance from our conference room at the Montreal office. Beside him is Louise Mazurich. So he is a representative from the company Brique Recyc. It is a Canadian company operating out of the province of Quebec. And he's here to present to our team his company's solution to masonry repairs, cleaning, and reuse. This presentation should last approximately 20 to 30 minutes with the question period at the end. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop those either in the comments section, or we can have a roundtable at the end of the presentation. All right, so Xavier, take it away, please.
Thank you very much. Laura, really happy to be here and present you our solution to reclaim bricks. So Brique Recyc is born from a dilemma or a question that every single masonry or every single contractor and their clients are facing when they do a masonry renovation or restoration project, which is, what are we doing with the original bricks on the wall? Traditionally, there was basically two options. You can either dispose of the old bricks and install new bricks on the building. This is like your quick and easy solution, but it comes with fairly high cost, new brick costs and disposable costs that are just getting higher and higher every year, especially us in around Quebec, where we don't have any brick factory anymore, and we're mostly importing bricks from the US, which even adds this uncertainty. Like if you're planning a project today, what's going to be the cost of your bricks in 2-3 years? Who knows? And it also comes with a high GHG emission and loss of patrimonial value. It's very important. Like bricks is the material that generate the most amount of GHG to create out of all the other solutions to put in on a facade of a building. It has a lot of good qualities. It lasts a lot longer than most other solutions. But if you throw in bricks, you're basically throwing carbon emission that have already been spent on creating those materials. And your other option is to restore the bricks. So basically clean them manually. This is a very, very long process where you have basically a mason that needs to be skilled. It's a craft, and it's been done that way for 100 years on the restoration project. You have mason taking a hammer to a brick and chiseling out the mortar on that brick so that it can be reused. Of course, it reduces the emissions because it's not going into the atmosphere. You're not just creating new bricks, and you're able to preserve the heritage value of your building. But because of that higher cost, it's usually like in terms of the labor costs are so high that you end up spending 35 to even sometimes 50% more than using new bricks. That means that usually what's going to happen is that the clients and the contractors are going to try to replace as much brick as they can and only restore what they have to, either because they're forced by a body like a city, or because they have a building with a patrimonial value and they want to preserve that. With Brique Recyc, we're solving that dilemma by making cleaning bricks and reusing them faster than manual method and cheaper than new brick. So with us, reusing bricks can reduce your cost, the cost of your brick on your project by up to 50% compared to new bricks, which means there's basically no reason to choose to replace old bricks with new bricks if you can clean them with our equipment. And that means reducing the GHG emission of the masonry part of your project by 80%. And of course, preserving the heritage value of that building. And with our process, we break 10 times less bricks during the cleanup process compared to older methods, which means that we're saving even more bricks compared to traditional restoration. And that means that even like right now, buildings that in 10 years ago would have been done with new bricks instead of old are now being done with the same brick that with their original bricks, and we're able to kind of have keep our street and our mason our nice brick building looking the same way as they were 50 years ago. So that's kind of all the benefits of our technology. But what does our machine actually do? It's a lot better to just show you than tell you. So this is our equipment. How it basically works is that you're cleaning your bricks in a two-step process. The first step is going to be cleaning the brick with a grinder at the bottom left corner of the machine. And then the brick is going to be put, is going to run through two blades that are going to remove the mortar on both faces of the brick at the same time. And at the end, you end up with a brick that's ready to be put back on a wall. As you can see, this is a 30-second video, and we did 3 bricks. So we can really do in good condition up to 6 bricks per minute on the machine. And even right now, we're in the process of finding a new supplier for our blades, since our old one is from the US and subject to tariffs. And with those new blades, we think we're going to be able to even increase the speed of our equipment even higher. So more on the technical side, so I've mentioned before, 3 to 5 times faster than manual cleaning method. No percussion, that's really important. Instead of striking bricks with a hammer to remove mortar, we're using friction and blades, which means that we can fully preserve the integrity of the bricks. And that means 95% of broken bricks. And we can clean even hard and sticky mortars. So there's a lot of bricks right now that cannot be cleaned using manual methods. We even have cases in Europe where their only option to clean bricks before our machine existed was using like jackhammers and things like that, because they were using like a concrete-based mortar. With our machine, we can clean all those different types of mortars and allow bricks to be reused. We're adjustable to all bricks. I'm going to say all bricks in North America. We're in a situation where we had a case in Europe where it's like we had bricks from the 15th or 16th century. It was a bit longer than younger bricks, let's say, and we had to do a little adaptation, or a little tweaks on the machine to be able to process that. But in North America, we're able we're adapted to all the different sizes of bricks that can exist. Our equipment is run on, of course, electricity. It's very mobile. We can put it on site. We can put it in scaffolding. We can put it on a system like a FACO. It fits. We can fit the machine, its dust collection unit, and generator on the trailer and deliver it on a job site. We can generally train a user in about 30 minutes. And we've had machines in we have machines right now even running to process bricks in a correctional facility in the Tracy, where it's used by trade prisoners on using the machines, and they're basically cleaning bricks that would have been destined to landfill, and we are reselling them in the Greater Montreal area. We also have machines that are used by people with say this. En français, les gens avec des handicaps légers.
People with disabilities.
People with disabilities, with light disabilities in processing facilities in Saguenay, Rimouski. We have machines there to kind of process brick offsite, so and they're able to operate the machine without any issues. On a job site, of course, masons can use the machine, but anyone with anyone that can work on a job site, either they can be laborers or mason or whatever, they can use the machine. Of course, they're gonna make it safe. It comes with a whole dust collection unit that's even bigger than the machine, because we all know like silica dust right now is something that's really we try to avoid as much as possible. From a noise perspective, we are at 74 decibels to operate the unit, which is not bad for a construction site. So generally, like the person that's going to operate the machine is going to wear hearing protection and dust protection, and is going to be able to run the machine. From a dust collection perspective, that's really important. We have a two-step dust collection process where we have a cyclonic separator, and the dust ends up in the this is an older version, but ends up is already bagged in a longo pack unit, which means the dust is separated, goes in a bag that just need to be tie wrapped together and removed. So there's not much dust going into the air during the whole operation. And again, we're filtering with the 95.7% efficiency, 0.3 micron. You have all the specifications to the right, but it's a really like a cutting edge, like the dust collection that we've designed specifically for the machine in partnership with our supplier. In terms of cost, like what does it look like to use our machine on a project? So we have this. I mean, I love using this project as an example because it was a fairly big institutional masonry restoration project. So we're talking like a $27 million total project with interventions outside and inside the building. Within that project, you had a $2.45 million masonry contract. And within that masonry contract, there was 3,500 square feet of facade to deconstruct, clean, and put back in place. This is the project originally that the contractor had planned on doing with the manual methods, which means that in their bids, when they prepared their bids, they had planned to clean that mortar with manual methods, and they had planned to $68,720 to kind of do that process. Using our machine, they were able to cut that down, including labor, cost of the equipment, and all of that. They were able to cut that down to $25,200, which means that they were able to get close to extra $40,000 more profit out of that job using our equipment. And it's a very good example because we're really talking about the cost of the brick cleanup itself, and compared to using new bricks in that specific project. If they had put like the cost of the bricks of the rest of the project, if they had used new brick for that facade, buying those bricks would have cost $41,300 and generated an extra 18 tons of additional CO2 emissions for that project. As you can see, for that specific, Brique Recyc was a very good solution for that project. And it's about, and manual cleaning bricks is about 1.5 times more expensive than using new bricks, which is about 1.5 times more expensive than using equipment to clean those bricks. And if we go further to talk about the environmental impact, so I've mentioned it earlier. On that specific project, we're talking about 18 tons of CO2. Around the world, the construction industry is responsible for 11% of GHG emissions. And in Canada, only 16% of CRD waste is recycled and reused. Even in Quebec, 32% of all our CRD waste is coming from the construction industry. which means that like we have, as an industry, we have a lot we can do to kind of do our part in reducing overall CO2 emissions. And reusing brick is really an ideal way to do so, because brick is a material that's the envelope material that's that's generate the most emission to produce, but it's also one that once it's on a building lasts the longest. So if we can save those bricks, we can give them another 100 years of life, and we can avoid a lot of CO2 emission on projects. That means that if you have a project that has a lead target of, let's say, -5, -10%, or you have like true BCS certification, you have promoters with B Corps, it's an ideal solution it's an ideal choice to make to have to reduce a GHG emission on the job. And it's also an ideal solution because we're talking about intervention outside the building. So it's a lot easier to isolate and say we're going to do just that than other options to reduce CO2 in buildings. I was talking to a project where they were talking even about like cataloging and reusing all the metal doors on the project, and it was a big endeavor. And the actual like CO2 reduction was much more than using bricks, which is easier to plan, and even can come with the savings on the project. And I mentioned as well before, in terms of like social impact of our machine, of course, we allow the preservation of much more brick buildings than before, because we are using brick more efficient. We're also, when we set up our offsite facility to recycle to clean bricks, we're also partnering with either like correctional facilities where our bricks are cleaned by a prisoner with good behaviors and near the end of their sentences, or through partners with that employ labor with the light handicaps. We also partner with other companies around recovery of materials and carbon reduction solution to kind of be able to offer and be integrated solutions. So we talk about the machine, we talk about how it works. Brique Recyc, it's more than just a machine. So our goal at the end of the day is that in 5, 10, 20 years, no good bricks end up either in the landfill or brought down and used as aggregate. So that every single good brick is clean and can be reused on an actual wall. So that means that in order to be able to kind of process every single brick, we've developed an ecosystem of solution around Brique. So of course we can rent a machine to be used either on the job site. It's usually a good solution when you have more than 20,000 bricks to process, which is about which is, let's say, over 3,000 square feet of brick wall to process. We also offer turnkey cleaning solution, either for smaller jobs or for bigger jobs where the contractor, the client, do not want to start using the machine and kind of go through all the planning around that equipment. Our turnkey solution is very much involves like collecting the brick on site, bringing it to an off-site facility, like the one we have in Saint-Tracy in a correctional facility, cleaning those bricks, pelletizing them, and bringing them back ready to use on that job site. We also collect bricks that were destined to landfill or to be sent to be converted to aggregate or like that, so that we process them and then we resell them ourselves on the heritage brick market in Montreal. To give you an idea, generally bricks, if you want to dispose of bricks, you can either send them to landfill or send them to be used as aggregate, which is about half the cost of the landfill, or we can send them to Brique Recyc, which is about half the cost of sending them to become aggregate, and we're able to kind of make sure those bricks end up being reclaimed and resold. So even if you have a project where you're not ready to kind of go through the whole process of using the machine, we can be a solution to handle that part of your masonry waste and be a way to both cut cost and cut disposal cost and have a good CO2 a good impact on the carbon emission of your project, even if you're not reusing your bricks on your project. And of course, we sell we reclaim the bricks. So for there's a big in Montreal, there's a big market for heritage bricks. Actually, able to sell them, they're actually more expensive than new bricks right now because there's a very high demand. We consider it as a premium product because it has a patina that has been built over a lot of time, being on walls, and it's a very interesting product for projects. And it's a good alternative as well for restoration work because when you deconstruct a wall, you always break some bricks, and we can replace them with bricks that have been cleaned and it's ready to be reused. And we offer expertise at every single step of a project, so pre-project, during the project, and at the end. You can best support our clients and our customers on using our services. So if I go just a bit more in details on on our brick collection service, turnkey cleaning, reclaim the brick sale, how it works really is that we have a for smaller clients, we even have a web page where they can go and they can take pictures of their brick and kind of even schedule their container delivery online. But for a bigger project, usually we plan it a bit more in advance. But we're able to send our green containers to the job site, so that when the actual deconstruction of that building happens, instead of just putting the bricks in the container, it's the same motion, but they're putting it in our green containers, and we can then send them back to a processing facility where we clean them offsite and we either return them to the same job site to be reused, or we resell them in Montreal. And in terms of expertise, what we offer really is first pre-project services. What does that mean is that we can the sooner we're involved in the project, the better, because we can be really help. We help architects and clients on even on going on their see their building. We can do estimates at the amount of brick that can be reused. We can do exploratory opening. We can test bricks to make sure that they're still good to be reused. We can do a lot to make sure that at the beginning, when we start cleaning up the bricks, we know that we're going to be able to reuse them. We know we're going to be able to reuse them or either on this project or on another project. We also support architects and clients in writing their specs around brick reusal. We help at the estimating phase in terms of planning on how the equipment is going to be used, what are going to be the costs associated to that. During the projects, we're going on site. We're supporting whoever is doing the deconstruction of the building to make sure to do it the right way. We're also there to assist the contractor on how to best use our equipment. Sometimes it's putting the equipment on site, sometimes offsite at a secondary location. So we're kind of there to kind of help them use our equipment in the most efficient way. And at the end of the project, we're set up to do full carbon footprint analysis specifically for the project based on where it is, where the new bricks that are being replaced by the old bricks would have come from, and do a very good estimate of the amount of carbon emission that have been saved. So basically, we offer a full suite of service to reduce as much as possible the friction around using a new technology just like ours. So a few product examples. So the one to the left is one in Detroit where they were basically converting an old factory into apartment buildings. So they decided to clean about 10,000 bricks and use them for the facade of the building. I have a picture one in France in the top right corner where we have a partner in France that has the machine, and that's cleaning bricks for a client that are going to go back on this job site to be reused. That's the one on the bottom is in Montreal on the Atwood-Morin job site, and it's really cool because you can see that the machine is very portable. It's on the top of a scaffolding. Sometimes depending on the project, it can make sense to have the machine on the scaffolding, on the Straco, so that when you remove the bricks, you can clean them, and you don't. They leave the scaffolding already cleaned and ready to be reused. This is a job site in Verdun. So for the Brique Recyc was invented at the beginning to fill a need our masonry company, Masonry Graton, had, which was how can we more efficiently clean our bricks. We were mostly doing restoration work in our area, and we were on the 20 to 50% of our project in a given year. We had bricks to clean. So we developed the machine at the beginning to fill our business need. So we mostly used it at the beginning on actual residential project, as you can see here. The project to the right is also an interesting one because it was the access on the site was very, very hard. It was in the Côte des Neiges in Montreal. That's a job site where even delivering new bricks would have mean renting part of the street, dropping and offloading the truck on the street, and bringing the brick to the job site. It would have involved a lot of labor because the actual access was very, very, very tight. By bringing our machine and cleaning the bricks and using them, they were able to cut their cost significantly on that job. And the next one. It's thinking.
Maybe Julie, can you open the PDF you have?
See if I can. It's downloading.
Is it uploading the video? Is it a video or?
No, it's just the last two slides, but
Yes.
that's fine. I'll keep going. That's fine.
I got it.
So, in terms of, and here we can see. All right, here we can see a job site where we're putting in new bricks in Montreal. We're putting old bricks in Montreal, and this is the one in our. This is a wall in our office. We have one side that's kind of the old and the one with the reclaimed bricks. So if you have a chance, if you're ever in Montreal, you want to come visit us. Like the walls in our office are I've been on using reclaimed bricks, and we have at the bottom we have like samples of all the different bricks, models of bricks that we sell. So right now we are. It's another one. It's not my presentation. And I get it. Oh, and here that's another project in Montreal where we can see the before and after of what a masonry renovation can look like when you reclaim the bricks. So and as you can see on the left, there's different. There was already a different intervention done on the building, and you have bricks with different patinas all over. So when we put the back on, we made a pattern to have like a uniform pattern over the whole building, which I think looks pretty nice.
It's switched.
Yeah. So we're at Brique Recyc right now. We are commercializing our machine. We have now we've been a rental fleet in Europe where we airlifted 3 machines last month to kind of meet the demand that we have there. We also have equipment in the US, mainly on the East Coast, but we're in the process of having a first project in the Los Angeles area. In Canada, where of course we're in Montreal, Quebec, the Ottawa region. We're starting to have project. We actually have our first big project in Toronto starting next week. We're driving a machine there tomorrow. We have a partner with our distribution in the Maritimes as well, and for the rest of Canada, we don't have we haven't done any project yet in Western Canada, but through our partnership with Straco, who is our distributor in the US, we were able to kind of bring a machine and set up a project across Canada. But of course, to move a machine there, it would have to be a bigger job. So that's it. We have we're going to open the floor for questions.
Yes, Eva.
Hi, Ava Koski. I'm on the Heritage Conservation Program here at BGIS. This is really cool machine. I was wondering, I noticed one of your projects is in Philadelphia or was in Philadelphia. Philadelphia is really famous for their black bricks that appear like they have a black glossy face as a result of like the firing process where they have like black ferrous oxide deposits. Would your machine be able to preserve those kinds of heritage qualities that are visible on the surface, like the patina of an old brick, the uneven surfaces, that kind of thing?
Yes,
Or
so
does
our
it clean on all six sides at once?
That's a very good question. Thank you for your question. So our machine was made to do restoration work. So we really made sure that we're really just touching the actual facade which has like mortar on, which means top, bottom, and the heads, and we're leaving both the facing side and the other side of the brick cleaned, which means that we're preserving the integrity of that brick, because that's the part that's been treated to resist ice and rain and all of that. And we're preserving as well the patina of that brick. For special types of bricks, like with glazes and stuff like that, what we like to do in free project is send a few bricks to our machines. We run them in the machine. We make sure that the result looks great, because you kind of never know sometimes with those type of bricks. And if the brick's a good candidate, you can recommend using machines for those bricks. But generally, we're able to preserve the integrity and the patina and all the characteristic of that brick, so it can be reused without any issues.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thanks for the
We have a
question.
question in the chat. So I'm reading how you use the term cleaning. Is it restoring too? Life of brick is extended by how long? I imagine it varies. Price difference between old and new. Thank you.
All right. There's a couple of things there in that question. So cleaning and restoring, I'm using them interchangeably. So we're not extending necessarily the life of the brick, because brick is a material that can last in good condition, can last hundreds of years. Usually when a wall is going to fail, it's going to be because either the brick hasn't been installed properly, or you're going to have failures around the anchors of the walls, or failures due to other things on that building. In Europe, we're cleaning bricks that are 100, 200 years old, even in Montreal, 100 years old, and they're still perfectly fine. Characteristic of the bricks can vary depending on the models and the years. That's really important. Not all bricks can be unfortunately reused. There are certain manufacturers in certain years where they had issues with their processes, and when we actually do the construction, the bricks are not that great and cannot be reused. Like their characteristics aren't that great. But there's bricks that have been 100 years old that are even better characteristic, but they respond better to testing compared to new bricks. So it really depends. And that's kind of why we're here, to kind of help with that analysis. And around restoration, it's really important. Like, we've been restoring facades in masonry for decades and even hundreds of years in Europe. Generally, like most masonry companies in that space know what they're talking about, and can just looking at bricks can determine if they can build a good wall or not. That's a skill most mason in the restoration space have. And even right now, we are working with we have a partner working with the masonry. I forget the name, but the institute that's responsible for the CSA norms around the masonry building, to write a specific section in that CSA norm to kind of address brick reusal with and it's going to take probably a few years to kind of put all together, but it's going to include protocols for deconstruction, how to visually grade bricks, like an A, B, C, D type of bricks, depending on like what they look like when they're taking off the wall, and as well like recommendation on how to reuse bricks, which means that even if a brick might not have all the same characteristics as a new bricks, but having like cutouts and use that they can be reused for, even if it's not like for structural works and things like that. In terms of pricing, again, the actual amount of money you're going to save by reusing your brick is going to really depend on the type of new bricks you would have used on your project. Like if you're putting up like condos and you're using the cheapest brick possible, you're probably going to end up with at a brick event, or maybe even a bit more expensive by reusing like restoration bricks. But for most institutional projects, what we're seeing, usually we're going to use like American bricks and stuff like that, which are at about $1.80 to $2 per bricks. And then we're going to be able to kind of cut down cost per bricks, because we're using bricks, you can clean and reuse bricks for anywhere between $1.25 to $1.50 to $1.75. It all depends on the labor, the setup of the project, the construction cost, and all of that. So pricing really varies per project.
Thank you, Xavier. I'm interrupting you because we have a new question. So I'm going to read that. We walked in within the 4 required working size of the downside to allow the brick to be reinstalled. The mortar may be new, the brick may be laid straight, but the goal is to maintain the current aesthetic qualities of the brick itself. Is that correct?
That's exactly it. So and really important, like what we do is using like blades that are going across the bricks, and what we're really doing is removing the mortars and removing a thin layer of bricks on both sides to make sure we're re-exposing back the clay of the brick, and to get like the same kind of adherence to the mortar as with new bricks. And even right now in the Greater Montreal Quebec area, we have a partnership with Lafarge, pretty big concrete supplier, and the actual like the old mortar that end up in the dust collection unit can be sent there and is reused during the concrete mix process. So we're able to even further reuse or even the mortar, which means that you can do like a masonry project almost with no waste.
Any other questions?
Thank you for the answer.
Thanks for the question.
Oui, Daniel? Yes, Daniel?
And just remind everyone, French copy of the presentation is available as well. We did that at noon Eastern Standard Time. Laura, I saw you had unmuted. Anything else?
No, I was just going to jump in and say that Daniel was basically just thanking Xavier for his answer. So, yeah, if there's any other questions to follow, let's keep it going if we can.
Yeah, I can maybe offer a closing statement. I'm really happy to be here to present our technology. We're really proud of what we've achieved with the machine design in Canada, built in Canada, and we're actually seeing a lot of traction in Europe. So for once, we are the one bringing a technology in Europe around recycling that they're the one using instead of the other way around. So we're really, really proud of that, and hopefully we're able to work on a project with you soon.
Sure, and it was mentioned during our French presentation, Alain Feltreau out of PDP, around if you want to get a project started, think about a pilot project
Yes.
as well. And if anyone needs a certificate of participation for their professional development, please let us know. We will work on providing that certificate of participation for the hour that you've spent with us. Anything else? Louise?
No, but for the certificate, please drop a comment in the chat because we can track all your names to be easier. So Laura, you introduced yourself, but if I can introduce myself also, I'm an architect based here in Montreal in the professional services. So we will maybe post the same information session in the future, almost every month, that frequency we want to achieve. Thank you so much, Xavier, for coming here at the Montreal office.
It's a pleasure to be here.
And thank you all for attending. Laura, you want to say something to conclude?
Yes, no, I just wanted to also take a chance to thank our guest for participating as well too. It was really great to see his presentation and really appreciate you coming into the office in Montreal as well too. So, and also thank you to Julie Matthews for helping both Louise and I to facilitate this session. Your guidance has been really, really beneficial. So thank you so much for enabling